Come see us on tour in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.
Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show, everybody. Keaton, Weiss, and Russell Dobular here filling in for Jimmy this week. Trump had a big press conference yesterday in which he refused to rule out use of military force to take control of Greenland and the Panama Canal. That's right. Didn't have that on the imperialist bingo card, but apparently Greenland and Panama are on the list for expansion here. President-elect Donald Trump on Tuesday said he would not rule out the use of military force to seize control of the Panama Canal and Greenland, as he declared U.S. control of both to be vital to American national security. Speaking to reporters less than 2 weeks before he takes office on January 20th, and as a delegation of aides and advisors that includes Donald Trump Jr. is in Greenland, Trump left open the use of the American military to secure both territories. Trump's intention marks a rejection of decades of U.S. policy that has prioritized self-determination over territorial expansion. I'm not going to commit to that, Trump said when asked if he would rule out the use of the military. It might be that you'll have to do something. The Panama Canal is vital to our country, he added. We need Greenland for national security purposes. So here he is being asked about his position on Greenland and Panama.
President, thank you. Wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages.
Yeah, I bet that. Yeah, that was why. That's why Jimmy Carter won the election.
People were up in arms about that.
Up in arms. Yes. You didn't hear the million-person march on Washington over the Panama Canal in September of 1980.
Yeah, it was not every newscast in the country starting every single night's news edition with the number of days the hostages had been held.
Right. No, it was the Panama Canal. Greenland, a home to a large U.S. military base, is an autonomous territory of Denmark, a longtime U.S. ally and founding member of NATO. Trump cast doubts on the legitimacy of Denmark's claim to Greenland. The Panama Canal has been solely controlled by the eponymous country for more than 25 years. The U.S. returned the Panama Canal zone to the country in 1979 and ended its joint partnership in controlling the strategic waterway in 1999. Just as Trump threatened to take the Panama Canal back, Jimmy Carter passed away. Coincidence? You tell me.
I don't think so.
Addressing Trump's... I don't think so. Addressing Trump's comments in an interview with Danish broadcaster TV2, Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen called the United States Denmark's most important and closest ally, and that she did not believe that the United States will use military or economic power to secure control over Greenland. Frederiksen repeated that she welcomed the United States taking a greater interest in the Arctic region, but that it would, quote, have to be done in a way that is respectful of the Greenlandic people, she said. Panamanian Foreign Minister Javier Martinez-Aca said his government hasn't had formal contact with Trump or representatives of the incoming administration, but reiterated previous comments from the country's president, Jose Raul Mulino, who said last month that the canal will remain in Panamanian hands. Quote, the sovereignty of our canal is not negotiable and is part of our history of struggle and an irreversible conquest, Martinez Aka said. So Donald Trump tweeted this in advance of his son Don Jr.'s visit. I'm hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. My son, Don Jr., and various representatives will be traveling there to visit some of the most magnificent areas and sites. Greenland is an incredible place, and the people will benefit tremendously if and when it becomes part of our nation. When we will protect it and cherish it from a very vicious outside world. Make Greenland great again. Yes, they need our protection. They're being circled by hostile ships. So Kim Iverson floated this idea, a theory that we can chew on, about why Trump wants Greenland.
Everywhere else in the world is somehow going to be great for America. Again. So Trump then tweets out again, I'm hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. My son, Don Jr., and various representatives will be traveling there to visit some of the most magnificent areas and sites. Greenland is an incredible place, and the people will benefit tremendously if and when it becomes part of our nation. We will protect it and cherish it from a vicious outside world. Make Greenland great again. Is Greenland under threat? Are they being bombed and attacked? I mean, this is how he's making it sound like Greenland's under threat. No,
they will be by the time we're done with them.
What's happening is the Chinese are wanting to make deals with Greenland. The Chinese are not threatening Greenland. The Russians are not threatening Greenland. Nobody's threatening.
They don't send the son. They don't send the son and Charlie Kirk there to visit the diner. Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Looks like everybody's coming along to the idea.
Greenland is getting business offers. And the art of the deal might be working in reverse, for Greenland right now.
Send Fredo there to work in the casino.
His book, all 50,000 of them read his book, and they're taking a page out of it. And they're saying, you know what? The art of the deal is we'll just court all of them. We'll make them all think that we're their best friend. And then we'll choose in the end which one we want to be with. Because no one is threatening Greenland at all. Greenland is just getting loving offers of courtship from all these big nations that want access to their shipping routes and access to their natural resources. So Greenland is trying to negotiate the best deal it could get. But if I were Greenland, I would make sure to write into the contract that Greenlanders get the same social benefits that they've always received from Denmark, and they get them in perpetuity, and it can never be canceled, and it's an obligation. Otherwise, Greenland defaults back to its own independent nation, something along those lines.
Okay, so I think that's an interesting idea. And who do you think, let me ask you, who would you partner with at this moment in history? If you're Greenland, governed by Denmark, would you partner with the United States or with China? Your call. Now, we know, obviously, Denmark, founding member of NATO, right? So that, so there you go. So that puts a little strain on the rules-based order, does it not? Because if you're Greenland, you got to be thinking, who would I rather deal with? Who's being nicer? Who's courting them better? As Kim Iverson just said, they're not being threatened by China. They're not being threatened with military action and or economic coercion from China. China uses honey. We use vinegar. So who do you think wins? If that is what's going on here, which I think that's a sound theory. Like, I think what she says there makes sense. It sounds like the United States is losing its place as the hegemon. And this is why ultimately, at the end of the day, the relationship between Trump and the deep state, as we got into with Whitney Webb the other day, is one of perhaps some friction, but not existential tension, because he believes in American hegemony. He believes we have the right to basically strong-arm Greenland and bend them to our will. And it's a question as to whether or not this will happen, and if there is a competition over the future of Greenland between the United States and China, who wins, despite existing arrangements?
I think we're more likely to kill everybody there than China is. So I guess we win.
Yeah.
In the end, right?
Well, depends. So you think he's serious? You don't think he's bluffing?
Okay, in seriousness, do I think Trump is going to stage a military invasion of Greenland? No. I think Trump just talks shit off the top of his head. I think he likes to create drama. I think he understands the show business of the reality television potential of the presidency, and he just throws out a lot of distractions that keep everybody talking about nonsense. Of course we're not invading Greenland. Of course we're not invading Panama. Come on. Yeah, Canada's going to be the 51st state. Yeah, that's going to happen. Like, it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. It's like the grooming gangs. It's just shit to get people to talk about anything except what's actually going on.
Well, we do know that, a big part of his platform was energy and energy independence.
Sure.
And the minerals in Greenland are probably of interest to him. Do I think we're going to try
we might want to make a business deal.
Right. I don't think we're going to annex them, but I think we are trying to exert some influence over them to try and make a deal with them. And that's what, what Kim Iverson was getting into is it's going to be a competition to see who gets the contract, as she just said. Is it going to be us or is it going to be China?
Right.
And I think, 20 years ago, there wouldn't have been much of a question about that. Now there is.
Right.
Now there is.
And he took normal business negotiations between nations and he turned it into reality TV.
That's right.
That's what I mean. He turned it into a big distraction. Like these kind of jostling over trade deals for minerals and mines. This goes on all the time, unremarked by the public. He turned it into an episode.
Come see us on tour in Los Angeles, Honolulu, Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.